step into the world of the mighty Assyrian Empire. The ancient superpower that shaped history like no other for over 1,400 years. Their groundbreaking military tactics, awe-inspiring cities, and cultural brilliance left the world in awe and terror. How did they rise to dominate the Near East, and what led to their dramatic downfall? Let's unravel the epic story of history's first great empire. Get ready, because this is a journey you won't forget. Assyria's story begins in northern Mesopotamia around 2600 BCE with the city of Ashur. Unlike the fertile plains of southern Mesopotamia, Assyria's rugged terrain fostered resilience in its people. Initially, Ashur was a city-state under the shadow of greater powers like Sumer and Akkad. However, its strategic position along trade routes connecting Anatolia, the Levant, and Persia allowed it to prosper. By 2000 BCE, the Assyrians had begun establishing their identity, worshipping their national deity, Ashur, who embodied conquest and power. The Old Assyrian period from 2000 to 1750 BCE was an age of commerce. Assyrian merchants established trade colonies, the most famous being Kanesh in Anatolia. From here they traded tin, textiles, and precious metals. What's remarkable is their advanced financial system. Records show loans, contracts, and early forms of banking. Assyrian traders used karam, or trade districts, to facilitate commerce. These records, written on clay tablets, reveal a complex society reliant on diplomacy as much as trade. However, this era wasn't entirely peaceful. By 1750 BCE, rising powers like Babylon under Hammurabi overshadowed Assyria, leading to a period of stagnation. The Middle Assyrian Empire from 1400 to 1050 BCE marked Assyria's first steps toward imperial dominance. During this period, Assyrian kings began expanding their territory, focusing on militarization. Ashur-uballit, who reigned from 1365 to 1330 BCE, broke free from Mitanni control and laid the groundwork for Assyrian independence. He declared himself king, signaling Assyria's transformation into an expansionist state. The Middle Assyrian laws were codified during this time. These strict laws outlined everything from property disputes to punishments for adultery and rebellion, reflecting a rigid and hierarchical society. One of the most notable rulers, Tiglath-Pileser, who reigned from 1114 to 1076 BCE, led successful campaigns against Babylon and the Hittites, claiming territories along the Mediterranean coast. He famously declared, "I am king of the universe," a title later adopted by Assyrian monarchs. The Neo-Assyrian Empire from 911 to 612 BCE was the first true superpower of the ancient world. It was during this period that Assyria reached its peak, becoming the largest empire humanity had ever seen. One reason for their dominance was their military innovation. The Assyrians fielded the first standing army, equipped with iron weapons, chariots, cavalry, and siege engines. They were the first to use battering rams and mobile siege towers effectively. Kings like Tiglath-Pileser III, who reigned from 745 to 727 BCE, restructured the empire, centralizing power and creating an efficient bureaucracy. He also introduced mass deportations to integrate conquered populations and reduce rebellion, a tactic both feared and effective. Under Sennacherib, who reigned from 705 to 681 BCE, Nineveh became a jewel of the ancient world. The city's famous walls stretched for 12 kilometers, enclosing magnificent palaces, gardens, and temples. Sennacherib also constructed a massive aqueduct system, considered a marvel of engineering. One of the greatest legacies of the Neo-Assyrian Empire is the astonishing library of Ashurbanipal. This collection of over 30,000 clay tablets contained texts on astronomy, medicine, law, and mythology. Ashurbanipal, who ruled from 669 to 631 BCE, was a scholar king. His library preserved works like the Epic of Gilgamesh, ensuring their survival for millennia. The library not only reflected Assyria's intellectual ambitions, but also provided insights into their culture, religion, and governance. Life in the Assyrian Empire was highly structured. The king ruled with absolute authority, supported by governors and military officials who managed provinces. Artisans crafted intricate reliefs depicting battles, religious rituals, and hunting scenes. These artworks celebrated the king's might and showcased Assyria's artistic sophistication. The Assyrians were also builders, constructing massive ziggurats and palaces adorned with glazed bricks and stone carvings. Farming sustained the empire, with irrigation systems drawing water from the Tigris and Euphrates. Religion played a central role. The god Ashur was the state deity, and kings often claimed divine support for their conquests. By 627 BCE, Assyria faced insurmountable challenges. The death of Ashurbanipal led to a power vacuum, and the empire's vast size made it difficult to control. A coalition of Babylonians, Medes, and Scythians launched a series of attacks. In 612 BCE, Nineveh fell after a brutal siege, signaling the end of Assyrian dominance. The once mighty empire was reduced to ashes, with remnants absorbed by Babylon and Media. Though Assyria fell, its influence endured. Their innovations in military strategy, governance, and infrastructure inspired empires like Babylon, Persia, and Rome. The Assyrians pioneered administrative systems like provincial governance and road networks to maintain control over vast territories, systems that would be emulated for centuries. Their artistic and literary achievements, preserved in ruins and libraries, remain a testament to their ingenuity. The Assyrian Empire was more than a conqueror's domain. It was a cradle of innovation, resilience, and culture. Its legacy continues to shape our understanding of ancient history. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Please give us a like and subscribe. What do you want us to explore next? Let us know in the comments. In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, a city rose from the dust, brilliant, defiant, and shrouded in legend. Babylon, a name that echoes across time, has become synonymous with grandeur and mystery. From the towering Ishtar Gate to the fabled Hanging Gardens, its marvels astound us even today. But beyond the myths lies a story of power, betrayal, and an empire's desperate grasp for immortality. What secrets did the great Tower of Babel truly hold? Were the Hanging Gardens a paradise on earth, or a mere mirage of the ancient imagination? and what force could bring such a mighty civilization to its knees? As we unravel the threads of Babylon's history, each discovery raises more questions than answers. This is the story of Babylon, its birth, its rise, and its ultimate fall, a tale of human ambition, divine wrath, and the eternal search for glory. Stay with us as we uncover the mysteries of a city that dared to touch the heavens. Our journey begins over 4,000 years ago in the heart of Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. Around 1894 BCE, Babylon was a small town along the Euphrates River. It was founded by the Amorites, a Semitic-speaking people who migrated into Mesopotamia seeking fertile lands and opportunities. Though its early days remain shrouded in mystery, Babylon quickly grew in importance due to its strategic location. The city was perfectly positioned at the crossroads of trade routes connecting Sumer in the south with Akkad and Assyria in the north. But how did this small settlement transform into a city of power? The answer lies with the rise of the Amorite dynasty. By 1792 BCE, Babylon was under the rule of King Hammurabi, a leader who would change the course of history. Hammurabi is often called the first great king of Babylon. His most famous achievement was his Code of Laws, one of the earliest and most comprehensive legal codes in human history. Inscribed on a massive stone stele, it set rules for justice, trade, and daily life, declaring an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Some scholars believe Hammurabi's laws reflected a desire to unify the diverse peoples of his expanding kingdom. Others argue they were propaganda, aimed at reinforcing the king's divine authority. Under Hammurabi, Babylon transformed from a regional power into the center of the Babylonian Empire. He conquered rival cities like Uruk, Lhasa, and Mari, consolidating power and ensuring Babylon's dominance. But Hammurabi's vision went beyond conquest. He invested in infrastructure, building temples, canals, and walls to protect his city. Babylon was no longer just a city, it was becoming a symbol of innovation and strength. After Hammurabi's death in 1750 BCE, Babylon faced challenges. His successors struggled to maintain control over the vast empire, and external threats loomed. By 1595 BCE, the city was sacked by the Hittites, a mysterious people from Anatolia. Despite this setback, Babylon proved resilient. Over centuries, it regained power and influence, benefiting from its central position in Mesopotamia. The early culture of Babylon remains an enigma. What made this city so unique? Some theories suggest Babylon's rapid rise was due to its mastery of irrigation. By controlling the flow of the Euphrates River, the Babylonians ensured abundant harvests, fueling economic and population growth. Others point to the city's religious significance. The chief god of Babylon, Marduk, was gradually elevated to prominence, symbolizing Babylon's political rise. Legends say the mighty ziggurat Etemenanki was built in his honor, a precursor to the biblical Tower of Babel. But was the Tower of Babel real? While some believe it was a metaphor for human ambition, others suggest it may have been based on Babylon's ziggurat, a structure that stood as a testament to the city's architectural ingenuity. The Golden Age of Babylon began in 605 BCE under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar II. A ruler of vision and ambition, Nebuchadnezzar transformed Babylon into the most magnificent city of its time, earning its place as the heart of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. One of the most enduring legends of Nebuchadnezzar's reign is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, often considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Ancient texts describe a series of terraced gardens, lush with exotic plants and flowing water, designed to mimic the green mountains of his queen's homeland. But did these gardens truly exist? Archaeologists have found no conclusive evidence of them in Babylon. Some scholars theorize they may have been located in Nineveh, another great Mesopotamian city. Others suggest the gardens were an invention of later Greek historians, inspired by Babylon's advanced irrigation systems. While the Hanging Gardens remain a mystery, the grandeur of the Ishtar Gate is undeniable. Constructed with vibrant blue-glazed bricks and adorned with images of lions, dragons and bulls, the gate served as a ceremonial entrance to the city. The processional way, a wide stone-paved street lined with walls depicting ceremonial animals, led visitors directly to the city's most sacred temple, the Esagila, dedicated to Marduk, Babylon's chief deity. These structures weren't just decorative, they symbolized Babylon's power and religious devotion. The Ishtar Gate, in particular, demonstrated the city's architectural and artistic sophistication, cementing its place in history. Babylon wasn't just a city of beauty, it was a hub of knowledge. Its scholars were pioneers in astronomy, creating star charts that laid the groundwork for modern celestial studies. They divided the sky into recognizable constellations and even calculated the length of the solar year with impressive accuracy. In mathematics, the Babylonians developed a sophisticated base 60 system which still influences how we measure time and angles today. Their clay tablets, inscribed with cuneiform script, reveal calculations for complex problems in geometry and algebra. But how did they acquire such advanced knowledge? Some theories suggest Babylon's location at the crossroads of trade brought a flow of ideas from distant lands. Others attribute it to the city's religious dedication, as priests sought to understand the heavens to better serve their gods. Despite its grandeur, Babylon's golden age was fleeting. By the mid-6th century BCE, the city faced internal unrest and external threats. In 539 BCE, the Persian king Cyrus the Great launched his campaign against Babylon. According to ancient records, Babylon fell without a fight. Some say the city's gates were opened by discontented citizens, while others believe Cyrus diverted the Euphrates River to infiltrate the city. Regardless of the method, the Persian conquest marked the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Under Persian rule, Babylon remained an important administrative center, but its independence was gone. Alexander the Great later sought to restore Babylon to its former glory, even planning to make it the capital of his empire. Tragically, his sudden death in 323 BCE ended those ambitions. Over time, Babylon's significance declined further. By the 1st century CE, the city was abandoned, its grand structures left to be consumed by the desert sands. Although Babylon fell, its legacy endured. The city's name is immortalized in biblical tales, and furthermore in ancient tales. Babylon's influence extended to later civilizations. Its contributions to astronomy, mathematics, and literature shaped the foundations of science and culture. Even its myths and legends continue to inspire artists, writers, and filmmakers today. But mysteries remain. What more lies beneath the sands of Babylon? Some believe undiscovered artifacts could reveal new insights into its history. Others wonder if the Hanging Gardens were a poetic metaphor rather than a physical reality. The questions keep archaeologists and historians intrigued. Babylon's story is one of triumph, innovation, and resilience. It reminds us of the heights humanity can achieve, and the forces that can bring even the greatest cities to their knees. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of Babylon. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What mysteries of Babylon do you want us to explore next? Let us know. Welcome to another fascinating episode where we dive into history's greatest mysteries. Today we're exploring humanity's oldest recorded story, the Epic of Gilgamesh, an ancient Mesopotamian odyssey recorded in the Akkadian language about Gilgamesh, the king of the Mesopotamian city-state Uruk. The fullest extant text of the Gilgamesh epic is on 12 incomplete Akkadian language tablets found in the mid-19th century at Nineveh in the library of the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal, reigned 668-627 BCE. The gaps that occur in the tablets have been partly filled by various fragments found elsewhere in Mesopotamia and Anatolia. Split into chapters, this tale takes us to the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, where gods, heroes, and the quest for immortality collide. Chapter 1. The Rise of Gilgamesh. Our story begins over 4,000 years ago, c. 2150 to 1400 BCE, in the ancient city of Uruk, in modern-day Iraq. The Ninevite version of the epic begins with a prologue in praise of King Gilgamesh, a man of unmatched strength, wisdom, and ambition, part divine and part human, the great builder and warrior, knower of all things on land and sea. The people saw him as two-thirds god and one-third human, but with this power came an arrogance that troubled his subjects. The great king, who, at first, is depicted as a proud and arrogant tyrant. He terrorizes his people, sleeps with the brides of his subjects on their wedding night, and consistently uses force to get his way in all things. In order to curb Gilgamesh's seemingly harsh rule, the god Anu causes the creation of Enkidu, a wild man who at first lives among animals. Upon hearing of Enkidu roaming the outskirts of his kingdom, Gilgamesh suggests sending the temple prostitute Shamhat to tame him, and she succeeds. Once Enkidu is civilized, however, he becomes enraged by tales of Gilgamesh's arrogance and oppressive ways. Determined to confront him, he sets out for Uruk to challenge the king. Chapter 2. The Bond of Friendship. Tablet 2 describes a trial of strength between the two men thereafter, in which Gilgamesh is the victor. Their bond was unlike any other, a deep friendship that would define both their lives. Together they decided to challenge the unknown, seeking glory and adventure. Their friendship would lead them to the cedar forest, where their greatest challenge awaited. Chapter 3. The Battle with Humbaba. In tablets 3, 4, and 5, in order to make his name immortal, Gilgamesh suggests they travel to the cedar forest to kill the monster demon Humbaba. Demon understood as supernatural entity, not an evil spirit. Humbaba has done nothing wrong and is favored by the gods for his protection of the forest. But this means nothing to Gilgamesh, who is only thinking of himself. Once the two friends have defeated Humbaba, he cries out for mercy, but Enkidu encourages Gilgamesh to kill him, which he does. The rest of the engagement is not recorded in the surviving fragments. Gilgamesh and Enkidu returned then to Uruk, their names now legends, but their actions had stirred divine retribution. In Tablet 6. Back in Uruk, Gilgamesh prepares to celebrate his victory, dressing in his finest clothes, which catches the attention of the goddess Inanna, Ishtar. Enchanted by him, Ishtar attempts to seduce Gilgamesh, but he rejects her, pointing out the tragic fates of her previous lovers, including Dumuzi. Enraged by his refusal, Ishtar sends the Bull of Heaven, her brother-in-law, to Earth to punish Gilgamesh and destroy Uruk. However, Gilgamesh and Enkidu defeat the bull, and in defiance, Enkidu hurls one of its legs at Ishtar. This act of disrespect, along with Enkidu's earlier cruelty toward Humbaba, leads the gods to decree that Enkidu must die as punishment. This act will later have severe consequence. Chapter 4. The Tragedy of Enkidu. Tablet 7 begins with Enkidu's account of a dream in which the gods Anu, Ea, and Shamash decide that Enkidu must die for slaying the bull. Enkidu then falls ill and dreams of the House of Dust that awaits him. Despite Gilgamesh's efforts, his friend passed away, leaving Gilgamesh devastated and shaken by the reality of mortality. For the first time, Gilgamesh faced the truth that even the strongest among us are mortal. Overcome by sorrow, he embarked on a quest to conquer death itself. Enkidu's punishment, his eventual death, reveals the inescapable rule of divine justice in Mesopotamian mythology, where human arrogance and irreverence towards the gods lead to tragedy. Chapter 5: The Quest for Immortality. In this part of the Epic of Gilgamesh, we see Gilgamesh's journey evolving from a physical conquest to a philosophical quest, as he searches for the meaning of life and a way to overcome death. The death of Enkidu, his closest friend, has shaken him profoundly, stripping away his pride and vanity and driving him to confront the reality of mortality. He travels far through the mountains and past the Scorpion people, hoping to find Utnapishtim, the man who survived the Great Flood and was rewarded with immortality by the gods. At one point, he meets Siduri, the tavern keeper. She offers him a moment of reflection, advising him to accept life as it is and to cherish earthly joys. Her advice encapsulates a common theme in ancient literature: the importance of embracing the present, with all its fleeting beauty. However, Gilgamesh cannot reconcile himself to this view, as his grief and fear of loss overpower his desire for simple contentment, as he believes life is meaningless if one must eventually lose all that one loves. Siduri directs him to the ferryman Urshanabi, who takes him across the waters of death to the home of Utnapishtim and his wife. Utnapishtim tells him that there is nothing he can do for him. He was granted immortality by the gods, he says, and has no power to do the same for Gilgamesh. Even so, he offers the king 2 chances at eternal life. First, he must show himself worthy by staying awake for 6 days and nights, which he fails at, and then he is given a magic plant, which in a moment of carelessness he leaves on the shore while he bathes, and it is eaten by a snake. Having failed in his quest, he has Urshanabi bring him back to Uruk. Returning to Uruk without achieving his goal, Gilgamesh ultimately finds a kind of immortality in a different form by recording his story on the walls of his city. Through his tale, his legacy endures, emphasizing that while individuals may pass, their deeds and stories can live on. The journey transforms Gilgamesh, and he returns not with the answers he sought, but with wisdom and acceptance of the human condition. This journey from pride to humility, from conquest to understanding, is what defines Gilgamesh as a timeless hero. His journey was filled with trials as he crossed mountains, deserts, and seas, determined to escape the fate that awaited all mortals. When he finally met Utnapishtim, he learned of a great flood that had granted Utnapishtim immortality. A story that mirrors the later tale of Noah's Ark, but Utnapishtim warned him immortality was a gift only for the gods. Chapter 6: The Legacy of Gilgamesh. Disheartened but wiser, Gilgamesh returned to Uruk. He came to realize that true immortality wasn't in living forever, but in the legacy one leaves behind. He devoted himself to making his city great, ensuring his name would be remembered for generations. The Epic of Gilgamesh shows us that even in ancient times, people grappled with the same questions we do today about friendship, loss, and what it means to truly live. The epic is not only a story of a hero's journey, but a reflection of humanity's quest for purpose. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world's first epic. If you're as captivated by ancient history as we are, please subscribe and hit the like button for more tales of mystery and wonder. Until next time, may the stories of the past guide us forward. Over 4,000 years ago, in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, the world saw its very first empire rise and conquer. This empire laid the foundation for civilizations that followed. Welcome to the story of the Akkadian Empire. Before the Akkadian Empire, Mesopotamia was a land divided. Small city-states like Uruk, Ur, and Lagash each held their own power, often clashing with one another for resources and dominance. This was the land known as the land between rivers, or Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers provided the fertile soil that allowed civilization to thrive. Sumerian city-states grew here, constructing monumental ziggurats, stepped temples dedicated to the gods. The Sumerians also made groundbreaking advancements in writing, mathematics, and governance, forming the earliest codes of law and the invention of cuneiform writing. It was into this dynamic landscape that a visionary leader named Sargon emerged, destined to unite these fractured lands. Sargon, the founder of the Akkadian Empire, came from humble beginnings. According to legend, he was born a commoner, abandoned as a baby in a reed basket on the Euphrates River, much like the story of Moses. A gardener found and raised him, and Sargon worked his way up to become a trusted servant of the king of Kish. Eventually, Sargon overthrew the king, marking the beginning of his rule and the start of Akkadian power. With a powerful army and brilliant tactics, Sargon began his campaign of conquest. His soldiers, one of the first professional standing armies in history, used composite bows, which were more advanced than the simple bows of their enemies. He took control of key cities, unified the region, and created what historians now recognize as the world's first empire. Sargon's empire quickly became vast, stretching from the Mediterranean Sea in the west to the Zagros Mountains in the east. Akkad became a hub of culture, trade, and innovation, bringing a golden age to the region. To secure the empire, Sargon placed trusted governors, known as ensai, in key cities to manage local affairs. This administrative structure helped integrate diverse territories under a single rule. But Sargon also understood the value of diplomacy. He established trade routes extending to the Indus Valley, the Arabian Peninsula, and Anatolia, trading goods like copper, timber, and precious stones that enriched Akkad and spread its influence. One of the most fascinating aspects of this period was the role of Sargon's daughter, Enheduanna. Appointed as the high priestess of the moon god Nanna in Ur, Enheduanna is known as history's first recorded author. She wrote hymns that reflected Akkadian religious and cultural beliefs, marking the beginning of Akkadian literature. The empire reached its peak under Sargon's successors, who built on his legacy. Sargon's grandson, Naram-Sin, famously declared himself a god-king, a bold move that further solidified Akkadian authority. The victory stele of Naram-Sin immortalizes one of his triumphs, showing him as a divine conqueror ascending a mountain with his soldiers. But no empire lasts forever. After over a century of dominance, the Akkadian Empire faced severe challenges. Around 2200 BCE, a prolonged drought struck Mesopotamia, disrupting agriculture and causing widespread famine. This environmental crisis strained resources, and many areas rebelled against Akkadian rule. These internal struggles made the empire vulnerable, and the Gutians, a group of mountain people from the Zagros region, took advantage of the weakening Akkadian state. The Gutians are often depicted in Akkadian records as barbarians who brought chaos. They seized key cities and disrupted the region's trade and economy. By around 2150 BCE, the once great Akkadian Empire had collapsed and the land returned to a patchwork of city-states. However, the influence of Akkad didn't vanish with its fall. The Akkadian Empire left a profound legacy. It was the first political entity to unite different cultures and regions under one rule, setting a model for future empires in Mesopotamia and beyond. Sargon's concept of a centralized government with local leaders loyal to the emperor would be used by empires for millennia. The Akkadian language also became the diplomatic language of the region. Even after the empire fell, Akkadian continued to be used for international correspondence for centuries, highlighting its lasting impact. Historians have rediscovered much of Akkadian civilization in modern times through excavations at sites like Ebla and Mari, where thousands of tablets have been found bearing Akkadian inscriptions. Each artifact brings us closer to understanding the people who built the world's first empire and set the stage for future civilizations. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time, but the Akkadian Empire is just one chapter in the story of ancient empires. Who rose next to claim power in Mesopotamia? And what secrets of ancient civilizations are still waiting to be uncovered beneath the sands? If you're ready for more mysteries from history, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Tell us in the comments, where should our exploration take us next? Welcome to another thrilling episode. Today we're diving into one of history's oldest civilizations, the Sumerians of ancient Mesopotamia. This early society, founded over 5,000 years ago, holds countless mysteries. Let's explore the key elements of their culture and their impact on the world. The Sumerians worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each representing forces of nature and aspects of life. These deities were central to Sumerian beliefs and culture. First we have Anu, the supreme sky god, often considered the father of all gods. His major roles are as an authority figure, decision-maker and progenitor. In heaven, he allots functions to other gods and can increase their status at will. Temples and shrines to Anu existed in various cities throughout Mesopotamian history. From the 3rd millennium onwards, he was worshipped, with some interruptions, together with Ishtar at the Ea-Na temple in Uruk. Next is Enlil, the god of air and storms. Believed to control the fate of humanity. He is first attested as the chief deity of the Sumerian pantheon, but he was later worshipped by the Akkadians, Babylonians, Assyrians, and Hurrians. Enlil's primary center of worship was the Ekur temple in the city of Nippur, which was believed to have been built by Enlil himself and was regarded as the mooring rope of heaven and earth. He is also sometimes referred to in Sumerian texts as Nunamnir. According to one Sumerian hymn, Enlil himself was so holy that not even the other gods could look upon him. Enlil rose to prominence during the 24th century BC with the rise of Nippur. His cult fell into decline after Nippur was sacked by the Elamites in 1230 BC. Next is Enki, the god of wisdom, water, and creation, often shown as a protector of humanity. He was originally the patron god of the city of Eridu, but later the influence of his cult spread throughout Mesopotamia. Enki was the keeper of the divine powers called Mi, the gifts of civilization. He is often shown with the horned crown of divinity. On the Adda seal, Enki is depicted with 2 streams of water flowing into each of his shoulders, one the Tigris, the other the Euphrates. Next is Inanna Ishtar, the goddess of love, fertility, and war, known for her fierce and complex personality. She is also associated with sensuality, procreation, divine law, and political power. Originally worshipped in Sumer, she was known by the Akkadian Empire, Babylonians, and Assyrians as Ishtar. Her primary title is the Queen of Heaven. Inanna was worshipped in Sumer, at least as early as the Uruk period 4000–3100 BCE, and her cultic activity was relatively localized before the conquest of Sargon of Akkad. During the post-Sargonic era, she became one of the most widely venerated deities in the Sumerian pantheon, with temples across Mesopotamia. The cult of Inanna Ishtar, which may have been associated with a variety of sexual rites, was continued by the East Semitic-speaking peoples, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians, who succeeded and absorbed the Sumerians in the region. She was especially beloved by the Assyrians, who elevated her to become the highest deity in their pantheon, ranking above their own national god, Ashur. These gods were often depicted in human form, but were believed to have superhuman abilities. Sumerians saw the gods as active players in daily life, controlling everything from crops to warfare. Sumerians built large, multi-storied temples called ziggurats as places of worship. These structures were meant to bring the people closer to the gods. Towering ziggurats were built by different cultural groups such as the Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians, and Elamites at the center of Mesopotamian cities for 2 millennia. Each city had a ziggurat dedicated to its patron deity. For example, the city of Ur had a ziggurat dedicated to the moon god Nana. Inside the ziggurat, priests conducted rituals, offered sacrifices, and presented food and drink to the gods. These rituals were crucial for Sumerians. They believed that by serving the gods, they could ensure favorable conditions, from abundant crops to protection from natural disasters. They were homes of the gods, but also focal points for political, social, and economic life. The Sumerians are credited with inventing one of the earliest writing systems, cuneiform. Originally developed around 3200 BCE, cuneiform began as simple pictographs. Over time, it evolved into a more complex script used for recording everything from trade transactions to poetry and myth. The most famous Sumerian text is the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest known works of literature. The modern study of cuneiform belongs to the ambiguously named field of Assyriology, as the earliest excavations of cuneiform libraries in the mid-19th century were in the area of ancient Assyria. An estimated 500,000 tablets are held in museums across the world, but comparatively few of these are published. The largest collections belong to the British Museum, approximately 130,000 tablets. Sumerian myths explain their beliefs about the universe's creation and humanity's role. According to their mythology, the gods created humans to work the earth and provide for the gods through offerings and rituals. In the Sumerian afterlife, the dead were thought to travel to the underworld, known as the House of Dust, a dark, grim place where souls led a shadowy existence. Proper burial rituals were believed to be essential for a soul's peaceful journey to the afterlife. And the male sky god and Kai, the female earth, were separated by Enlil, their son and later the chief god of the pantheon. Enlil thus carries off his mother the earth, taking his father's place. But where did heaven, An, and earth, Ki, come from, you may ask? According to another text, it was Namu the sea, the mother who gave birth to heaven and earth. The text continues with a few more tantalizing but puzzling details about Sumerian beginnings. Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, is said to have been carried off into the nether world. Afterwards, the water god Enki set sail for the nether world, whereupon his boat was attacked by stones and swamped. The influence of Sumerian civilization didn't end with their decline. Many aspects of their culture influenced later civilizations, including the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Sumerian religious practices, myths, and even parts of their language and script were adopted by neighboring cultures. Their innovations in law, trade, and writing left a lasting mark on history. The Sumerians were true pioneers, building one of humanity's first complex societies. Their achievements and beliefs still resonate thousands of years later. If you enjoyed exploring the mysteries of ancient Sumer, make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what topic you'd like us to uncover next.